How's everyone doing? I thought yesterday was kind of interesting with, I don't know, Noah's class really stuck out to me. And I will admit, and it was probably obvious I didn't really speak up yesterday, but I will admit that I had kind of a hard time.
I feel like he was kind of like prodding in the way of kind of saying that you don't have to.
Right.
But by saying that, he was kind of asking us to.
Right.
In a way.
Yeah.
There was this weird pressure in there that was making me all jittery. I'm sure you could tell.
Yeah.
It was not rational at all. It made no sense. I was like, okay,
yeah.
I have to
And
force myself to do it.
He even mentioned that, like whatever pressure everybody's feeling for some reason right now isn't real.
It was really weighing on me too, and
so strange.
I don't want to regret things because I know regretting things is not the best, but I really do wish I could have spoken.
Yeah. I have a problem with regretting things that I've done in the past a lot, but I have to learn to use those memories to grow from them.
Exactly.
You know, instead of regretting, like, oh, I wish I hadn't done that.
Yeah, that's actually a very healthy way to put that. Instead of just being down on yourself, it's a place to grow. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to have that perspective from yesterday. It definitely made me kind of think about my decision, and thinking back on it really makes me just like, why? Like, there's just no reason I shouldn't have. And so, anyways, but all to say, I was really encouraged by yesterday and just excited to see, what the Lord's going to do through these the upcoming classes and just what is going to be built through those. I don't know. It was just a beautiful reminder for me of what we're doing as a community. One thing I was close to sharing, but just didn't decide to, was just like the beauty of it being more than just that day. It being like something throughout, obviously, the whole week till next Tuesday. It being like almost like a theme of what the Lord is doing, not in just those classes, but in each one of our lives, and how, times like this, or like times like on Tuesday, it's just a time to like be together and really express that together. And so it really came to me yesterday when, we were all discussing, why we're here and who we are. Like, it's just amazing to me how the Lord has set up so many different areas and times for us to really build and focus on building a culture for Him. And so, I don't know, it's exciting and can be confusing, and but once again, more than anything, it's just exciting for me.
Yeah, I didn't share it at all yesterday, and I also wish I had. But something that really encouraged me was your poem, right? Yeah, your poem is just, I really appreciated that because it's actually something that I've been considering a lot in my own life. So I think hearing it from other people makes it feel a lot, it's really encouraging. It makes it feel a lot more real, I guess. And so I really liked it.
Thank you.
I wish I had said it yesterday, but
It was definitely everyone who shared was just so encouraging. Like, I mean, that's what's so sad when we don't decide to share, because once again, it's like it's a missed opportunity to encourage other people.
Yeah, I don't know why I was hesitant to share my poem specifically. I kind of wanted to share something different but I couldn't think of anything, so I just eventually shared.
Yeah.
I don't really think that what I wrote captures my heart, even though I did put something on there. Sorry. I'm still a little bit dissatisfied with it. Unsatisfied.
I wasn't liking mine. Oh, sorry. No,
I think I misunderstood the way we wrote it, so I didn't write it as a poem.
You didn't have to.
You didn't give us.
Noah just said write whatever you want.
Yeah, I felt like I might want to rewrite mine because it wasn't like shallow or like it was still personal, but I felt like I could have probably made it deeper, so I might go back and rewrite it.
Yeah, I had written a different writing about it before, and I was like, this doesn't, like, this is what I'm trying, it doesn't really explain what I was trying to express. And it's really hard to express that subject in words for
Mhm.
writing. So it was really hard for me. But then a poem came to my head, so that's why.
I think you did like unbelievable with how you.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, that was just really creative, and I think that's like such a cool part about writing poems is that you can just really share your heart in a different way, and like you did such a beautiful job of that, you know. But yeah, that's another thing about what we're doing with writing stuff is I find it easier to express myself through that kind of way of communicating, easier I guess, and like I don't know, it's just beautiful to see other people's hearts in that. So I'm encouraged to see the further growth there.
I'm excited for the new poems.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be really fun. I think it's really fun just the way you have to go about it, like writing part 1.
Yeah.
And then waiting another week to write part 2 instead
Yeah.
of like writing them both together, which I think will be really fun. I'm excited.
Y'all have any like ideas about like themes?
I have
I
lots
do.
of ideas,
Me too.
except for that a lot of them, like the change of season is gradual. So I have to pick something, or like that there would be several that I would want to all put in.
Right.
So maybe I'll do 2 parts, and then like there'll be even more after that, or maybe
Nice.
I'll just think of something different.
Yeah, I feel like when I write, my random lines of the poem just come to me. Like I have 2 lines that I really like already from yesterday, but I have no clue how I'm gonna put them in to play.
Oh.
Like, I kind of want to do the cliche winter into spring, but, like, I'm thinking about maybe I can try to write it creatively or something. Or, like, put in, like, themes that have been on my mind lately or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I had an idea
That's clever.
like that I'm like it would work pretty well, but it just seems kind of obvious, 'cause, like the caterpillar into a butterfly kind of thing.
We always use it. I don't know.
Yeah, we do always.
I was
use
even
it,
thinking of
so.
like a tree too in the different seasons.
yeah.
But like you're saying, I don't want it to be like cliche.
It's like, well,
I did
like,
want to think of
The
something
walk
really
of
light.
life, so cliche.
Yes.
Yeah,
Seasons.
well, walk of life, and like you're talking about a walk of life, but you use like subtle things to give an example that it is a tree.
I was
or something
almost
like
thinking
that.
of using a tree as a metaphor.
Yeah.
Or something.
Use like small
Yeah.
metaphors.
I always think another thing that we always use is water, but I was thinking of something like a river is the first one, and the second one is kind of where it goes down into a waterfall.
That'd be really
That would be
weird.
cool.
Because it kind of like is a change of pace,
Mhm.
and like at the waterfall, it's like flying through the air. So
That'd be really cool. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
What were you gonna say?
I think I'm gonna do my view and observations as a child, like as a younger. I know I'm still a child, but as like much younger, and just the way that things seemed back then, right? And then just the next part 2 would probably be how I see it now.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I was thinking about doing the change in relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know which ones yet. Like probably maybe even parents or something. Like pick a specific relationship and then use metaphors in that. But I thought that would be kind of cool because obviously there's a change in those. But we'll see.
I'm thinking of doing like Noah said change of season doesn't have to be happy, sad, happy, but that's kind of how personally it's been for me. So I'm thinking of kind of, you know how some people can write in such a way where it almost takes you into their world, like it almost plays a picture in your head. So I'm kind of thinking of doing that where it's like not happy, sad, happy, because that kind of just is, you know what I mean though? It's kind of like everything seems perfect and then it goes quiet and then goes back but stronger. That sounds kind of confusing, but
I think you're like going off of like emotions too, like the change in emotions.
yeah.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I really want to do like an experience in my life that's been changed, but I want to do it metaphorical. And I'm really bad at making metaphors, so it's gonna be hard. But
You should ask Noah, he would like that.
yeah, I probably will.
Metaphors are definitely just like such a easy way to make poems poetic. Yeah.
I'm like, I don't write poems unless there's an assignment. Not because I hate writing poems. I just like, I guess I don't have inspiration or something. But like when I do write a poem, most of the time it's like, oh, it's actually like not as bad as I thought. Like,
Yeah.
I never think to myself, oh, this is a good thought, I should write a poem. I never do that. I don't know. Maybe I should start doing just writing poems.
I've been wanting to do the same thing. But I don't know, like you're saying, I just have to really be either prodded to do it from something or like just really inspired.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I've tried to write poems on my own before, but it's kind of like I other people have talked about this before where I really can only do it if I have limitations. Like it has to be about this or it has to have this thing in it. And then I can make it good. If I just have all the options, it's really hard for me to do.
Yeah. I like to write my ideas down in a journal. Like I have a list of a couple different poem ideas, and then sometimes I'll go back and do them. I think you can do that with you might do that with regular writing too, like stories and stuff like that. That's what's helped me with writing poetry outside of being asked to.
I love poetry because it's like you don't want to just write down, because like essays, I love writing essays too, but it's like you have to really write down your thoughts and make it make sense.
So much.
Yeah.
But with a poem, you can say all your thoughts without saying them. Like if
You can be
you
as
write,
vague as you want.
yeah,
Vague and like super
nobody
creative.
has
makes
to
you
really
think.
know.
Yeah.
Because like I don't want to just be over here. If I wanted to write a sad poem, it would be weird if I just wrote down a bunch of thoughts. So you can kind of like express yourself without it sounds
Yeah.
confusing.
No,
It's kind of like
that's
music.
totally good.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when I write poetry, I like to make up a little picture in my head and just kind of, I know this is weird, but kind of make a story out of it.
That's not
And
weird
then-
at all. That's cool.
And then kind of put it next to my life, I guess.
Mhm.
And then kind of like a metaphor used in that way.
That's how they come out most naturally, is
Right.
when you can actually relate to it and you're actually using your own life, like, reflection too. Because, like, I don't know, if you're just trying to, like, write about something you might not know about, then that's not going to end up very well. Yeah, I think that's kind of cool. It reminded me of how, like, Elijah writes his poems. Like, I feel like a lot of Elijah's poems are very, like, story-like. And so, like, I understand that kind of mindset. It's really cool.
It's fun.
Yeah. I don't know, one thing that's been on my mind recently, which I want to hear from you guys about, is the aspect, I know that we kind of talked about it a lot in different meetings, but the aspect of being and what it means to, like, just be in life. And I don't know, I've just been really trying to practice that in my own struggles and stuff in life, and just, like, not trying to make my own way in hard situations or situations I don't want to be in. But I think that's part of just being and letting the Lord, work through stuff like that. But anyways, I didn't know if you guys had any thoughts about that.
I guess it's kind of like being present. As they're kind of like linked in my mind, but like I don't know how to really define it.
No, that's actually true. It's like, it's being in, like, what the Lord is doing now, in the present, like you're saying. And I think, too, you get so lost in, like, what I want in my life, and that's not being in the present. I think that's, not only that, it's just imagining my life how I want it to be. And, I don't know, I'm really trying to focus in on more of what the Lord is doing and how I can be in that rather than trying to build my own life. And yeah, I definitely agree with what you're saying about being in the present.
And when you first said that, Hannah, I thought of being present, like being present with God, because that's what I've been thinking about recently, which I probably have already shared because it's been on my mind a while now.
Like being aware of His presence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I say being present with Him is because I kind of feel like whatever I'm doing is with Him. So,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of almost talking to Him with everything. So, even if it's not actually words, I kind of just have that father-son relationship in everyday things. So,
yeah, like you're saying, it's like it's actually having a relationship with someone in the now,
Yeah.
with God. Like I mean, like, yeah.
Yeah, I've been trying to kind of let my life play out, not on its own, but God, like, because something I was thinking about is if I look back like 6 years ago, I was in Texas. I was a Christian, but didn't have a relationship with God. If I would have looked into my future, I would have never thought that I would be in Washington in this setting. And that's kind of how I feel. Like my future, I don't know what it holds, but look how did I get here, you know? Like God plays things out at the perfect timing when you least expect it to.
Yep. And that's why expectations are so dangerous.
Yeah.
Because when they're not met, obviously that's gonna
Damage.
you.
Yeah.
And so not having those expectations and truly having faith in the Lord is such a beautiful thing, because like you're saying, then you don't get damaged when something that you don't necessarily expect to happen. You're like, oh, okay, this is what the Lord's doing now. And truly trusting in Him, and through that, you know, and hearing from the Lord from other people, and it's just so beautiful how the Lord does stuff through other relationships and speaks through other people.
It's also been really hard too, because like you have to drop your entire life, and there's things that I have always wanted to pursue that if I'm looking internally,
No, that makes sense.
internally, I haven't let go of my desires yet. Like I've told God and I've told myself, I want these things, but I let go, but I still pursue them. Like if you want a silly example, it's college. It sounds very silly, but it's something I really want, and I haven't fully laid that at His feet, which I'm trying to do. Even I don't really know what it looks like or any of that.
Well, I can relate to you in that, to where there's certain things that are really hard to let go of, because I think, I don't know, I spent a lot of my life, sorry, I don't know why I'm getting emotional, but I spent a lot of my life just imagining a certain relationship in my life. And sorry, I'm talking about a marriage relationship right now, but I'm just trying to really let the Lord in through that, because I'm sorry, guys.
Don't be.
I just really struggle with that a lot. And I don't know, I'm just really trying to give that to the Lord. So I'm there with you. Sorry.
Don't apologize.
So I know what you were thinking. I think that just as young ladies, we all want that in the future sometime. But I know that you're definitely closer to that age. And I just don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, it's not
I know
even,
that's
it's,
simple, but
I think more than just worrying about it, it's seeing it in the right way and not expecting it. And I'm honestly, with marriage and stuff, like, I'm trying to even like move it to like my relationship with God. Like, obviously we're not married in heaven to some person on this earth, and so I'm really trying to redirect that desire to God. The intimacy, the desire, everything. I'm trying to like relate it to my relationship with God and being the bride of yeah. So
I can. I also have things that I'm having a hard time letting go of that I know that I should let go of. So whenever I catch myself thinking of those things and I don't really know how to get it in the right place, I just try to orient my heart towards the Lord, because even if I'm not fixing my problems, quote unquote, it doesn't really matter when I'm just pointed towards Him, just like taking it to Him and being with Him. Because something that I've been wanting is to really be confident that I'm hearing Him back, because I am really uncertain. I'm still really uncertain, like, He is talking to me, but I am having a hard time hearing it, and when I do, I'm really uncertain about it. So I want to learn how to, like, take it to other people that I trust and ask them about it, and grow into hearing Him more regularly and not having to doubt myself.
Yeah, that's actually a beautiful thing, because then you're not constantly trying to do things on your own. You're learning to understand the Father, and like you're saying, learn to actually hear from Him. I really think we should all be striving to do that, because that's the point. It's only once is for us to have a relationship with Him. And I mean, like, it's just crazy to me how the world has gotten to a place where, like, that's not the focus. All they want is their own thing. Sorry, I don't know why I'm crying, but I just really want to get to that place where I'm like, that's all I want. So.
Okay, do you remember that poem I wrote for you? I said exactly what you I said that it's all you want. It's a relationship with Him.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of when you think of, like, laying things before the Lord? Because just something I think of is, I've had experience like that in my life where there's been things I've desired that I didn't want to desire if the Lord didn't want me to. So I'm just curious to what you guys think. Like, when I think of laying something down for the Lord, I think of giving it to Him and letting Him do it what He wants. So, like, I know in my life I've been, I'll take this desire away from me altogether, and then he not that He didn't do it, but He still allowed me to have that desire, but He used it in a different way. Which I'm just wondering if you guys have a different perspective on that, and, like, you think when you give it to the Lord, He takes it away, or, like, I don't know if I'm making sense at all
No,
here,
I understand.
but I was just wondering if you guys have any thoughts on what that means to you, or if it means something different.
So you're asking, like, what it means to actually give the Lord your desire?
What
What does it look like?
What do you guys think it looks like, or what would you think it?
I mean, I'm still learning that.
Yeah.
With certain things, I think.
Same.
I think that the Lord will bring or take away things that are meant to be. It's I think in a lot of ways it's not pursuing it in your own way, or like I don't know. The be comes back to me, just being, and not like, I don't know. I just think
Striving
things
for something.
certain things will, like, be obvious. I don't know. I'm not making sense. That's a good question though.
Yeah, sometimes I'm trying really hard to, like, when I think about the be, like, just being, a lot of times it comes, for me personally, when I'm trying really hard to I'm trying to be the right things, but I'm in that, I end up doing. And I often only recognize this after looking back at it. But it's kind of just not worrying about anything because of the present, just because of the knowledge of the Lord's sovereignty is my knowledge of it currently, which I'm pretty sure there's more, but that's just what I know about it right now. And I honestly don't know what it means what it looks like, or what the fullest expression of giving something to the Lord, but I know that that when I desire something, that the only way for me right now to stop desiring it so much is just to try to avert my attention from it by going to God, which is what I already said.
I feel like it's helpful to be like, Lord, I want this, but let your will be done.
Like it as well.
Like, if you want me to turn a different way and look at it from a different perspective, that's good. I'll take it. If you want it to shift, my idea of it to shift, then let your will be done. Or if you don't want it, like, in my life at all, then yes. Like, I don't know.
I think my mom said something a while ago, I think when we were doing the feasts, where she was saying I think she used the saying of he gives us a crown, but he wants us to lay it at his feet and give it back. I think that's something he does with our hobbies too, like even day-to-day things that we just enjoy doing, and how he gives us this passion for a reason, most likely. Like, I don't know if that means college or education or horse riding or whatever, but I think maybe even just, I was just thinking about this now, just the fact that you're laying it at his feet is even just so honoring to him that we know he's a good and just God and he knows the things we enjoy, but I think it's just the humility to give it back to him that he's looking for, not necessarily to quote unquote take something away from you. That's what I just thought of.
Something, it doesn't fully answer the question, but you can't, it's not that you can't, but me personally, I can't just change my desires, because that's my soul. I want things. You can't, if you want something, you're gonna want it, but it's a matter of pursuing it. Like, I'm gonna keep bringing up the silly college example. That doesn't mean I stop my education or don't want to do it at all. It's that you just, this is gonna come up, just be. Like, just let it play out. It's not that you can't want things, it's the way that you really act upon it.
I think too, with what you're saying, one sign of maturity in those kind of desires is to really bring it to people that you trust and not just try to do everything on your own. It's really, I think the Lord has put so many beautiful relationships in each one of our lives to go to talk about that stuff, and just part of really giving it to the Lord is not trying to pursue it on your own. And I think I think that's definitely one way that you can hear from the Lord about certain desires that you may want to pursue or have a desire to pursue.
I keep thinking of the word dependence, like dependence on the Lord and on like the other people to like just to help us with those thoughts and desires.
That's part of like how a body should work. If you think about it, how you do things together.
I think something that can be really encouraging when thinking about desires, pretty sure maybe you touched on it in your poem, but we definitely talked about it yesterday. And it can be really encouraging for us because I can see that we're all following and seeking to have a relationship with the Lord. That the closer we get with the Father, our desires change to be what He desires. And so, like, if you're worried about maybe this isn't the right desire, as you get closer with the Father, then that desire will change, and it'll become something that's pleasing
That
to
reminds
Him.
me of what Dad was saying about truth.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about yesterday.
And like knowing what to ask of the Father.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
if
that's the change of season 2. Sorry, I did not mean to interrupt you.
No.
I totally did. Sorry.
I was saying, like, in the Bible it says something about like God will answer the prayers of the righteous because they know the right things to ask. If you ask Him for money, He's not going to grant that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Esther. Yeah.
And I don't think that wanting to go to college is a bad thing. I just, I also, when I think of just being, I think of like, obviously not just standing still, right? Not just standing still forever, but obviously not staying stagnant either. So really in the things that you do and the things that you desire, really giving them to the Lord, right?
Yeah.
Like we're saying. But just being with Him in the things you do, I guess, instead of just you know
It's
what
not
I mean.
like being stagnant, but
Right.
it's just letting. When I say life, I don't want it to sound like I'm like the universe or something. Life is God.
Yeah, what you mean.
Let life play out the way it plays out, and that's God's timing.
Exactly.
Like you don't have to just be. I used to mix it up with being stagnant. Well, obviously there's seasons for being stagnant, but it's not just living. It's just being okay with the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is still along the lines of seasons, but it reminded me of what you were saying, is just like being content in the season that you're in currently, because you are going to want higher or something better than you have now. Like, even, like, I think of, like, self-improvement, like, I want a better relationship with the Lord even, and that's a good desire, but this is the season that I'm in right now, and as I grow to that, I still have to temper that desire so that it's not like I'm
Trying to force it.
yeah, and I'm not unhappy with the place that I'm at right now. So I'm just like I just am not I'm not ever here because I want what's ahead.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. Like, it just, I don't know, a lot, like I was saying earlier, a lot of my life I've just been somewhere else and just always imagining all the beautiful things that are going to happen. And I don't know, it's just not the best way to live your life, especially when there's so much, going on now and what the Lord is doing
But
now.
I don't think it's bad to look forward to it, but
Right.
obviously not.
Not the way that
only
you
be
think
there,
of it.
but
There's
Yeah.
excitement, and then there's
Right.
anxiety, or just
Just kind of having faith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
living in the future. Is
Not expecting.
Right.
that.
Well, I don't know, that even sounds kind of wrong, but like, not having like your own expectation.
Your expectation can be, like, you can have an expectation, but for whatever God wants. Like, that should be your expectations.
I think there's a balance to everything, so
Yeah.
that's what we're kind of getting at.
Yeah. Oceans are weird. Like, I'm telling you, like, I feel like I
Yeah.
always base it off certain stuff, but literally it can just come out of nowhere. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this is a little
Like-
weird.
I understand.
Did you say emotions or?
Emotions.
Yeah,
Like, you just
ocean.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Oceans are weird.
No, like yesterday, I was like on the verge of tears reading my poem for absolutely no reason.
Yeah.
Absolutely no reason. I was like all shaky. Like it was so strange.
Yeah, it's.
Literally last night, I was just laying in bed and I was just crying for no reason. Just like,
I'm
what?
sleepy.
I'm just laying in bed and I'm like, it was so funny because I was smiling and I was like about to go to bed and I was just like.
I guess that's the part, but that's something interesting too. Is like even I feel like it goes with bearing one another's burdens too. Like if you're upset, if you feel I've done this before, or like I'll just feel upset, or like there's a weight on me for no reason, and then my mom will be like later, however, be like, "Oh, you were carrying my burden." I was all, "What? I don't remember doing that." And it's like, it's so weird, just the way you feel things. Sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, this is super small. But the other day at worship, I saw your dad grab your hand and I started crying.
Because it's
You're so sweet. I don't know why. Because you weren't doing great, and then he just like held your hand, and I was like.
Or like Isabel singing in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
That's what everyone was crying about?
Yes.
Yes. I just saw
I
my
was
mom. I was
wondering,
like,
she
what
was
is
being
going
paid for,
on?
and then she ran to the bathroom and started singing in the bathroom.
I was
That's
wondering
precious.
because everybody was singing and then everyone started crying and I was like, what did I miss?
I was singing in the bathroom.
That was precious. Yeah, I've been just so encouraged by different stuff I've heard about the younger people. Just like,
They're
I'm
not
just so excited to see the growth
children
in that.
anymore. Yeah.
Their desires are becoming strong.
I Smart.
Turn it silent. That's gonna be a lot of noise on the recording.
Sorry.
Well, I have an unrelated thing to share.
Nothing's unrelated here.
Yeah.
You know how Tim was talking about like listening to him and like what like seeking his mind and his heart before asking for things? Like I often connect with him the most like when I'm in my bed before I go to sleep. I don't know what it is. It's just like a built-in time to be quiet and still. I don't know. Anyway, I was like trying to listen. I was like telling him like I didn't necessarily want him to speak to me, but I wanted to hear what he was saying, if that makes sense. There was like a difference. Like I wanted to know what it was, and like these different like seemingly unrelated words like kept coming. So I eventually like started writing it down. It was all dark. It was really bad. So I rewrote it later. But like, I'll tell you the words I heard. I can't. I feel like I should share. I have no idea what it means, but like I heard manipulation, protection, sinful nature, and divine counsel, which all seem very unrelated, but I don't know. I just thought I should share because I never really had that thing before. Like it was kind of like I thought of the word, but it was so random that like maybe it was the Lord. I don't know. I'm still learning.
What's the second word again?
Protection. Yeah, I don't know. They all seem very.
What was the last one?
Divine counsel.
That one stands out to me,
Me too.
with all of those because of what that means. Having having divine counsel.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's very interesting.
Yeah, that also connects to like protection. I don't know, because when I hear like the sinful nature right after protection, I'm not like I don't know. I'm not trying to make up things intellectually, but maybe it's that. No, I actually don't know.
I don't know either.
I just felt some sort of connection, so yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It'd be I mean, I don't really know what that means, but like I think it's something that could be brought to others, maybe to discuss. I don't know.
And that you like heard things is like encouraging to me in a way that I want to do it. You know?
I think it's funny because we never expect how he's going to talk to us. So the fact that you think you thought of those words is practically him showing you.
That's the thing, because like it was like a thought. I was like, protection. Wait, what?
That's how I normally hear him.
I don't know.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm always careful with how like I think that I hear from the Lord because I'm still trying to learn that, and I don't know. One of the ways I've really known certain things are from the Lord is when I talk to other people. Like I don't like, I don't know. I just
like
don't like doing.
confirmations?
Yeah, I don't like doing it on my own.
Relying on your own judgment.
Right. I don't like being like I hear something and be like, this was the Lord. Like I usually like
I know.
go to other people.
My mom has actually been telling me about that, where like she's unsure if what she heard was the Lord, but then it'll get confirmed like 3 times, and the Lord is teaching her to like stop being afraid that it wasn't Him. Like, at least for my mom, apparently it's a season that she's growing out of. Like she needs to stop thinking that it was her own self, and she doesn't want to like speak for God. I think that's what you were saying, but
Yeah, I think with confirmation, that's where, it's, I don't know. I'm still learning that.
yeah.
I want to be careful because I don't want to
I get it.
speak something that's maybe not the Lord.
Yeah, but your dad was saying he's encouraged us in this many times. We're gonna stumble. He wants us to try things, and we're in an environment where those around us who are more like experiencing those things can check us and give us correction, and then we can learn. But we're not gonna learn if we don't mess up.
You're right.
You know.
Yeah, I think where you're pointing at, Haley, is that sometimes we feel like we just can't say anything because we don't think it could be, but you know, it's learning from those experiences, even if it isn't. Then it's learning from just even speaking what's on your heart, and yeah.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to assume, but you also don't want to just overlook it. Right?
Yeah.
So just think about it.
I have something related. You never. It's unrelated, but could be related. Anyways, I was listening to a song last night that was like so personal to me that it just says, "I know you're able to save through fire." Wait, sorry. I know you're able, and I know you can save through the fire with your mighty hand. But the part that stands out to me is, but even if you don't, my hope is you alone. Because personally, if I'm being honest, I don't hear from God a lot. Like, if we're at worship nights, I will feel his presence on me. But I personally have never, I don't want to say never, directly heard from God. Like, there's been countless nights of me laying in bed, crying out to him, speak to me, I don't know how to listen, and I haven't heard anything.
It's not a bad thing.
It hurts.
I believe really seeking that out, how he will come in his time. It will be, I can actually in ways relate to that.
And Hattie, it
And-
doesn't have to. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
It doesn't have to be words. When you were like sharing, like you took those friends out of your life, that was him speaking to you. Because he said you've grown out. You don't need them like in a relationship anymore. And you asked for him to take things out of your life, so he did speak to you.
Yeah,
Just saying.
that's true. It can come in. I think that's actually one thing that can actually make it seem like we're not hearing from him, is when we assume it's going to come in certain ways.
That's the same expectations thing.
Exactly.
Which is, I've experienced the same exact thing as you, Hattie. And yeah, it was really discouraging to me. But I might have shared this before, but one time I was just asking, and I was discouraged that I wasn't hearing anything. But I was asking him for the right mindset in at that moment, because I wanted to hear him, so I wanted to have the right mindset to hear him. But he showed me that I should just be prioritizing time with him, like just being with him, and that he will speak to me if I'm just being present with him, which I've already been saying this whole time. But because if you think, like, just imagine like a child in their father's lap, their dad's gonna want to talk to them, you know. So, and just being content to spend that time with him and learn his voice. You know?
I think that's actually, I'm really glad that was brought up, because I think that we all struggle with this, and I'm going to just kind of repeat things. It's just that the Lord is doing things in a new way. I really don't want to get this wrong, because like I it's hard to explain, but like we can't just put God in a box, right? He can speak in so many different ways. We've heard it so many times. The Lord is always speaking. So it's not having that like expectation of how we think the Lord's gonna speak to us. And I don't know, it just came up to me. Like I really want to practice that. It's like, and I don't want to put God in a box. I want to really have a real relationship with him and know what he's speaking, truly. So.
My mom sent me this song that says, "Don't let me worship my preference." And I just thought, because we all kind of have expectations, again, for how God will speak to us, and it always ends up being a different way every time he speaks. Well, like not like every time it's different, but you know what I mean. Like it's not a way that we would have expected. Because sometimes words pop up in your head. Sometimes you get an urge to play a song, but it's new, and I don't want to like have these expectations for how God is going to speak to me. I mean, it's not that he's never spoken to me. That's not, I hope I didn't come across like that. But it's just that it's very hard for me to hear directly from him. I hear from other people, but I'm just trying to have faith that he's going to speak to me. Just, I don't want to, I'm being confusing.
No, I
just don't
understand.
want
It's kind
to
of
have
confusing.
my own.
For me, it's kind of confusing too. Like that's why I was glad it was brought up, because I don't know. It's just it's all part of that expectation. No, go ahead.
I feel the same way a lot of the times. Like a couple of years ago, even I was just, I know this is not okay, but I had a lot of doubt that I would never hear from him because I was young and I didn't understand, and I was just like, Lord, are you gonna talk to me or show your face directly, like a sign or something? You know, just
because it's not always
Right.
going to be these.
right. But I've just been learning that he is in everything, and
Exactly.
we have to choose to see that, right, and be willing to understand that he shows himself in every little thing, and it's just really beautiful because he was there all along. You know, just had to open our eyes.
We have to learn how to listen,
Right.
because it's not God doesn't speak to me, it's I'm not listening, and that's not like a self-criticism,
Right.
because you have to learn how to listen.
That's what we're all learning.
Learn how to learn.
Is learning. Yeah, learn how to learn. Learn how to listen.
Yeah, last worship night, something that really encouraged me that Tim was saying to Isabella is that your growth will depend on the sincerity of your heart. So that's why I think we should all be encouraged, even if we don't see any progress that's going on. The Lord knows what's going on, and there is progress if there's sincerity in your heart, which we all have that sincerity. So.
Yeah, it's something Emmanuel used to say to me when I had said, like, I don't feel like I'm growing or anything. He's like, oh, you are. You are. You definitely are. And I was like, oh, really? I don't see anything. He's like, no, you are. You are. And I was like, okay.
Because,
I
like,
say so.
it still feels like a quiet season. A couple of weeks ago, I think I had shared something about it feeling really quiet and, like, dead and flat for me, but I don't know.
There's this like analogy that kind of reminds me of what you were saying, Kayla. If you can't really, there's this analogy. If you're standing in a river that's flowing, you can't see that you're moving unless you look to the side. Like if you're just looking at the water, that if it's like a very slow moving river, I hope you see where I'm going with this. You can't see that you're moving. Yeah.
That's interesting.
But
how
if you just
say
be
that.
there, it's just gonna.
It's almost like just looking at a different perspective. You think about that. It's not like down at yourself.
Yeah.
If you
You're
have
like
tunnel
seeing the
vision,
bigger
yeah,
picture.
that you're moving.
That's kind of cool.
So you're not self-centered.
Exactly.
Because if you're looking at yourself, you're not moving. But if you look at the
that's
trees or
interesting.
something, the sky.
That's beautiful.
You're
I actually
moving.
really like that.
That's
Self-centered life. You're just sitting doing nothing.
And
Your
that's
perspective.
interesting because before I would explain my progress as just seeing it's like seeing from a higher perspective. Every time I see growth, higher perspective. So.
You know what's interesting too is in Analects there was this thing that said, I think either Tim said it, I think, or maybe the book. It said if you always have something to do and somewhere to be, you will have no time to observe others. So it's like that. If you're always observing yourself and doing things for yourself, you're never going to realize what's going on around you and what's happening in other people.
Yeah, that
was a good
that was brought up. Maybe it was through that I'm thinking the same thing. But like, just like really being engaging and seeing what the Lord is doing in other people too is just so beautiful for your growth. And not just, once again, being so self-centered and wanting to know, like, oh, just for me, what's going to happen in my life? Like, what is the Lord doing in other people? Like, how can I come alongside them in that?
You'll usually realize that there's a lot of the same stuff going on at other
Exactly.
people. So.
Yeah. That's what's so beautiful about these times. Any time that we're all gathering together, that is just a wonderful time to express that and share that as a body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And that's how we're.
Yeah, that's kind of evidence that we are learning to operate as a body
Mm-hmm.
because of the similar things going on.
Mm. Yeah.
Who shared the analogy about a box and looking outside of the box? Was that you, Haley?
I think so.
Yeah, it was.
I think it was
Like,
you.
we
It
don't
was.
have
It
a
wasn't
box in the
today.
box.
Oh,
It wasn't today, but you were like
Yeah.
talking about the box thing.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well,
Oh yeah, like the box of your egocentric box that
Oh,
everybody
yeah.
has their
Okay.
own. Yeah.
So I sorry. A year ago, when you joined us, I had a vision. Sorry. And I hadn't told you yet because I waited for the right time. The Lord would tell me to. And the vision was, so you're alone in this kind of, it seems like a big box, but it looks like nothing, okay? But there are some flowers, and you go to see the flowers, and then a staircase appears, and a door at the top of the staircase, and then the Lord is walking down, and you look up to him, and he grabs your hand, and he pulls you out of the flower.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
How long ago did you have that?
A year ago.
Wow.
It's very interesting.
It's like the seasons of life, though. It was like a season.
I wanted to ask you guys' just thoughts. It's off topic, but also not. About Noah was talking about when you talk negatively about yourself, that you're not selfless. Like you're not. You're
That was
actually
really interesting.
very self-absorbed.
That's
and it's
so true.
I was just thinking about it
Because like
yeah.
just think about what you're doing. You're focusing on, like if you're down on yourself, you're still focusing on yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're not.
And you're like
Learning.
insulting like God's creation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like you're
That
not.
really convicted me. Yeah. One thing that I read that kind of says that same thing is instead of thinking less of yourself, just think of yourself less.
Yeah. Look how simple that is.
Yeah.
You know, we can get caught up. I think Elijah shared something, or he was praying about something, just how we can think that we're thinking about others, right? But we're really just thinking about ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, that's one thing too with relationships is really learning how to not be so self-centered in everything. Because there's certain things that seem good that we're doing in relationships, but can be still self-centered.
Yeah. Like
And
when you're
so-
trying to give someone advice, like you're trying to help them out. You just want them to hear your own opinion.
Yeah. So.
Or like I know better, so I'm gonna tell you what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have more of the?
Oh yeah.
Question.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't. It just kind of struck me when you
Same
said that
here.
because I personally, I don't talk bad about myself to get attention from others. That's not ever what I do. But I do talk bad about myself.
Well, think about the
Like,
example of
unaware.
what that is too.
Yeah.
You're showing other people
I also noticed
that's a negative. Like
Yeah.
you're showing other people, oh, this is how I think that about myself, and it's almost like they're gonna do the same thing.
I
That's
noticed
not a
that
good
in
example.
little, like Elisa. You know, when she definitely looks up to me. I'm one of her friends, and I want to be the best example that I can. But in ways, I act very immature. That she's developing. Not that I'm like her role model in life, but like I've just noticed her developing some ways that are unhealthy from me. And I never thought that me talking negatively of myself was damaging anybody else. It's just definitely struck me that if we're a whole, if you think about physically, if your hand is hurting, it's gonna hurt your whole body, kind of.
Think about what Grandpa shared the other day, and how important our decisions are, and how they don't just affect us; they affect
generations and generations.
How my dad was saying. Oh, sorry, guys. What you said about Elisa, I've kind of seen in myself with Isabella. Like, I have this. I'm still growing out of this bad habit that I used to be much worse at, where I would just get stuck and super down about when I made a mistake or said something that I shouldn't have said, and I was told that. I would just get really condemned and down and almost kind of act like a scared animal. So I noticed Isabella starting to do that as well. So it's kind of like a false humility thing. Where like, I'm so sorry, and like get all sad and mopey. So
Yeah, influence is a big deal.
very much.
That's why if you're not self-centered, you can realize that like there's people that look, whether you think it or not, there's people that look up to you.
Always.
And they're going to develop your habits it's just habitual. Like, if I like something you do, I'm going to try to develop that habit. That's just how humans work.
And that's why we kind of pointed on it yesterday, and there was some conversation between Noah and Justin about the importance of self-discipline. It's not about ourselves. It's about what we're portraying to other people. And it's not about making ourselves better. It's about how are we coming across to other people. And it's part of how to discipline that self.
yeah, and you know how like along the lines of being influenced by other people, like that happens when you spend time around those people a lot. So when you spend time with the Lord a lot, then you're gonna start acting like Him in ways.
Yeah.
It reminds me of what my dad was saying on how you love yourself, and it's not like a selfish love, but like when you are, I'm not gonna say this bad thing about myself, and then that will be Elisa not knowing. Like she'll start to realize that like, oh, there is nothing bad about Hattie, and there is nothing bad about myself. That's just the example. By not saying that, you're doing something to change it. I was just thinking about something, and I can't remember my train of thought. I had a good example. It's gone.
I think respect is really helpful because, you know, the world's like, oh, self-care, self-love, take care of yourself, whatever.
It's just been corrupted so
to a
much.
certain extent, it's good, but like they twisted it. So I think self-respect is a much better term to use.
Like, that always twisted me up when they were like, love yourself.
Yeah, self-care.
Yeah, but like even when Justin was in our Bible time, he'd be like, you should love yourself. I'm like, but I see these people out here who are self-confident, self-loving, and they're like very condescending.
They're just.
But discipline is love, if you think about it. Like they say, you discipline those who you love. Like it's not like saying, I love myself, but it's saying, I'm one of God's creations. He loves me, therefore, I'm going to discipline. It's jumbled.
Yeah, the
myself.
temple of the Holy Spirit, you're going to discipline that.
Yeah.
I guess you like change the definition of the word in your head.
Of love.
Yeah, of love.
Yeah.
I was going to say something.
You guys are forgetting.
Yeah, with love, in the book that I was reading, I mentioned redeeming love. I think it's just interesting in that story how there were just a lot of. There wasn't a love in return. Sorry, I'm getting a little lost, but like I just think it's beautiful in how love isn't it shouldn't be a selfish desire. It's like what love really is like dying to yourself. And obviously there's a lot I still want to learn about what love really is, but like I don't know where I'm trying to get here. But it's just really learning to not love for your own benefit and
Patty wrote a poem like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that poem. That was really beautiful.
Yeah, that was the one we did together. The love poem.
How did I
Yeah.
Oh man,
That was
my foot's dead. I can't even feel it.
Your what? Your leg?
My foot.
Asleep.
Yeah. But I even think the name of that book, Redeeming Love, and like yeah, it's just like I don't know. I want to learn how to really love other people.
Mhm.
That's been on my heart for a long time. I remember a long time ago in one of our meetings. I don't even know how it was brought up, but like I just had expressed to Emmanuel like how much I wanted to learn how to love like the Father.
Have you read the book The Way of Peace?
I don't think so.
It has a really encouraging section about that. That's called selfless love. That really helped me, in kind of at least my understanding of how to do that. The love. Obviously, it's not a full picture, but because, I mean, yeah. But I just it's really that love that doesn't need anything in return from the other person.
Exactly. I think that's what I was trying to get with the book.
Yeah.
Because he was loving her with there not being any love from her in return.
Yeah.
And that was
And,
the
like-
real love that doesn't need that.
Right.
And
It's
if
like,
you-
oh, sorry, no, go ahead. I don't know.
If you think about it, love isn't like, I don't know where I'm getting at with this, but like, you don't have to try to love your mom. You can try to show your affection, but deep inside, you don't have to try.
Right.
I mean, some people do, but you don't really have to be like, I love my mom. I love, like, you just love her. It's like,
I think what you're saying is like it's not even just what you say.
it's
It's really how you-
internal.
Actions. And
Yeah, it's what's in your heart towards that person.
And that's like that's where I've been really discouraged in trying to love others is where I start externally, which is the doing versus being. I have to feel the love first. Well, it's not it's not like emotional feely love, but that's not what I'm saying. It's like to know that you love someone before you can express it, which I've tried to express the love without feeling it, without knowing that love.
Yeah, did you say you remembered your thing? I thought you were
I really wish I did. I
oh, sorry.
thought I had a good thought, but
Remember?
Sorry.
Sometimes it just slips away from us.
maybe it's for later. Maybe I forgot it purposely.
It's
Yeah.
like a year later. Like a month.
Yeah.
1 year from now.
That is crazy.
That
How
is.
certain things like that happen. Like
It's all the time.
some, it doesn't really. Yeah, it's really with timing. How like certain things will come up and like maybe it's not even for that time. It's for like
Like
years
it was funny
later.
because I had many moments to tell you that vision, but it didn't feel right.
Saved
it
for
was
the perfect time.
Yeah, it was interesting.
if anyone doesn't have like anything else to share, we could spend some time praying together. Lord, I'm just so blessed and full of joy to have a people, your people, Lord, to share your love and what it means to really love. Lord, may we continue to build each other up to you and to what it means to be a true and living son of God. Lord, I just thank you for even the struggles and what it can produce, not just for ourselves, but for your purpose, Lord. May this time continue to honor you. May we continue to honor each other and just be a blessing to you, Father. Lord, your light is encouraging to hear from each mouth, Lord. So may we continue to let that flow and not keep it within. Lord, may each one here continue to learn to hear from you, Father. May we not try to hear you in our own way. May we not lean on our own understanding. May we just fully become one with you, one within your river, Lord. And may our focus be drawn to the bigger picture, way outside ourselves. More and more of you, Father. Just bless each one, each relationship here. Praise in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Yes, Lord. I pray that we would just come to understand what it means to truly love with your love, Father. And that we wouldn't hesitate to look for you in the small, simple things in life, Lord. But that we would truly value every moment that we have to see you. I thank you for these wonderful relationships that you've given us. I pray that we would not treat them with our love, Lord, but with your everlasting love. And that we would continue to have faith in your plan and never doubt you. Thank you, Lord. Amen.
Lord, thank you for the way you're teaching us, and the way you're speaking to us. Thank you for telling us the things that we need to let go of, things we need to stop expecting, or the way we think it's going to happen, Lord. Thank you for just being with us in every season that we're in. Pray that we would continue to chase after you, to fellowship with one another, and follow you, Lord. There is nothing greater in this life. Thank you for these sisters around me. Each one is so precious. Thank you for bringing us together. Thank you for loving us. Please teach us how to love one another in the way you would have us do. So, Lord, thank you so much for this time that we can be together. Thank you for being with us. Amen.
Father, I'm so encouraged and blessed to have such an amazing group of people. Father, I thank you. I feel that there's been a release over this time and less fear. Even me personally, I don't feel the fear anymore. Father, I pray that we would learn how to learn and learn how to hear your voice. Father, your timing and your ways are so perfect. I thank you for how you've perfectly laid out our lives in your timing. And I pray that we would do nothing but trust that. That we would hold on to that faith, that hope, Father. I pray that whatever our truest desires are, that you would take the reins, and that if that means to completely take away the desire, then it is well with our souls, Father. I pray that our truest, deepest desires would be you, and that we would tilt our focus to the bigger things, Father. Amen.
Yes, Father, you are so good. Thank you for these sisters. Thank you for this time, this meeting right now. I thank you for your eternal purpose and your present purpose. Thank you for your love here among us. I pray that you would teach us how to teach us further how to use what you have given us to produce the fruit that you long for us to. I thank you for the encouragement that we have brought among each other, for the encouragement that you have given to us and that we have given to you in our desire and in our sincerity. I pray that this sincerity can grow, that we would not get discouraged or feel too content with the world's pleasures, but Lord, that we would ever be reminded of your sovereignty, your importance, and our purpose. I pray that we would, Lord, just ever come alive in you and keep reaching further points of sacrificing our souls to you and learning how to be a pleasing son, a pleasing people to you. In your name, amen.
Really blessed by you guys. Every time, like literally every time. I'm just like, my whole day changes. It's interesting too, because like I feel like every time before I meet, I'm like in some way down, and then after this time, I'm just like, yeah.
I think that might be like intentionally, like the enemy's trying to get you to not participate in the way that the Lord wants us to in this time.